Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Ultimate Decades Challenge. The year is 1315, and it is the beginning of the dreaded Great Famine. Last year, we unexpectedly lost Gemma to a random illness running through the Verviers household. Stephanie successfully aged up to become our first teen, and Adriana aged up into a child. Rosemary also gave birth to baby Allison, and both mother and child are alive and well. This year, we are going to start off with the dreaded rolls. I ran a poll several weeks back to see if you guys wanted to see the results with me or not. The majority said yes, but there were a few who said they would prefer to learn of the deaths as they happen. So for you folks, there is a timestamp on screen. You can go ahead and skip there, and I will try to be careful not to spoil any of the results as I'm playing. Alright, so for those of you sticking around to suffer with me, grab a tissue and some ice cream and let's get started. I am going to start off with the unplayed Townie households, followed by our side households, and I am going to end with our main household. So as you can see, I am currently on the world map, so I am going to be traveling starting here. So this here is the Manoring household. They are the innkeepers, so we have Reginald, his wife Melina, their son and heir Jordan. They have a daughter called Merida, and this is Darnell. He is a bard currently residing there. He's not part of the family. These two are teens that could have potentially been romantic interests for our Sims, but we will see if they make it. So we are gonna go ahead and get started. We are going to be rolling a d8. 3 and 7 mean death. All right, so Reginald makes it. His wife does not. Their son makes it. The bard makes it. And their daughter Merida makes it. So there is only one death in this household. Next up is the Blackmore family. In case you don't recognize him, this here is actually Shanna's brother Lionel with his wife Siggy, and they have 5 children. I believe these two are twins, and then they have Gerald, Joran, and Randall. So they have 4 sons and 1 daughter. So let's get started with them. Rolling for Lionel first. Lionel makes it. His wife Siggy. Siggy dies. I will not be doing any pleading for the Townie households, but I will be pleading for our side households and our main household. So Siggy unfortunately dies. We're starting off with wives dying, which is kind of scary. So their first son makes it. Their daughter makes it. Gerald makes it. Joran makes it? Yeah, Joran makes it, and Randall makes it. Okay, so far it is the ladies who are unlucky. The next house is the Hale household. Alright, okay, so I was wrong. In the Blackmore... Oops, I skipped a house. In the Blackmore residence, there are no twins. It's in the Hale household that we have twins. I was mistaken. Alright, so the next house that we have is the Ravenlock family, and these are actually our spellcasters. This is not generally known, but there are some rumors about them. So this is Cordelia. She is Esme's mother, and Esme has a daughter of her own. This is actually the woman who helped Gemma escape. And if we decide to have Lucan try and save Gemma, then she is also the person that Lucan is going to go to for help. So we are going to roll for Cordelia first. She makes it. Next up is her daughter. She does not make it. And her granddaughter, Mayra. Mayra makes it. Okay. And now the next household. So this is the Hale household. This was Gemma's first husband who remarried Cersei, and they have twins who are Orion and Alton, and then they have Constance, Ida, Morgan, and the latest little baby, Trevor. Someone actually commented a while back that I should have had Stuart pass away from a broken heart, and that would have been a really sad but fitting end for him, because I did imagine him to be very sensitive, but we'll see. Maybe maybe it's not too late to have him pass away. Cersei makes it. Stuart makes it. Our first child makes it. Oh, the second one dies. All right, that is Alton. Oh, and the next child, Constance, also passes away. Oh no. This is exactly what I'm afraid will happen in our main household. So I believe that was Ida or Ida. And then, okay, so the toddler makes it and Trevor, the latest baby, makes it. Alright, so I am going to be skipping our main household for now. The next household is the Miller family. So this is Greta Miller and her teen daughter Eleonora. Eleonora I was planning to have as a potential romance candidate for one of our sons. So let's see if she is going to make it. Greta makes it. And Eleonora makes it. Okay, so these two are fine. I am not going to roll for our outlaws because they are going to be stealing to survive, but I might actually roll for them at the end of the famine just in case, just to see, not necessarily if they die from the famine, but they may have gotten caught and went to jail. So I'm going to roll for them at a later time, also depending on what happens if we do encounter them. And if they steal from us, then maybe we can have them arrested. So I am going to skip right over to the Fisher family. So we have Robert Fisher, his wife Lorena, their oldest son Nicholas. They have a daughter Alyssa. So these two I was planning to have age up with our heirs. So they are actually romance candidates for Stephanie, Brayden, and Frederick. And then we have Abigail and we have Cedric. We are going to roll for Robert. Robert makes it. His wife makes it. Nicholas makes it. Daughter makes it. Toddler makes it. Wow, okay. This is the luckiest family so far. They are completely unscathed. So they are actually fishermen, so I guess they weren't as affected by the famine because I guess the fish were still fine. So this is our royal household. I know I probably shouldn't roll for the famine itself because as royals, they're probably fine. Like they're probably just going to get food from their subjects anyways. But I haven't been rolling to see if they pass away during their birthdays or births. So I am going to roll to see if any of these guys pass away. So we have Sir Pelham here. He is actually the king's advisor. Amara is the queen or the queen consort. Charles is the king. We have Sir Archer Hudson here, who is a knight. And then we have Emery, who is the princess. We have Ramon, who is the current heir to the throne. And I did not give him a makeover, as you can see. Oh no, actually, they're not in order. So Charles II of Windenburg is actually the heir, and Ramon is the spare. And then they have Roland, who is a little fussy demon. So we are going to start with Sir Pelham. Sir Pelham is fine, and the queen passes away. So she might have actually died during childbirth at some point, is the explanation we can go with. The king is fine, our erratic king who keeps sleeping on the benches. Sir Archer is fine. The princess is fine. Oh, the spare passes away. What about the heir to the throne? The heir is fine, and Roland is now the second spare and second in line for the throne. All right, next up are the Townsends. This is the blacksmith family. So we have Cordell with his wife Sheila. They have a teen daughter, Jeanette. And of course, Brandon, who is actually Stephanie's friend. He's actually Stephanie's good friend and one of the two potential marriage candidates that I had in mind for her, either Brandon or Corey, who's the pickpocket here. Those are my main ideas, so we will see if that is still a possibility or not. So we're gonna roll for the dad first. The dad doesn't make it. And what about the mom? The mom makes it, the daughter makes it, and Brandon makes it. So Brandon actually becomes the new owner of the blacksmith shop, which is interesting. I am going to be aging him up to a teen now that I know that he's surviving, and I'm not going to give him a makeover for nothing. So it's really interesting that as soon as Brandon ages up into a teen, so he's basically 13 or 14 years old at this point, he is already taking over the blacksmith shop. The next home that we have here is the Taylor family. They are slightly higher up. So we have Benjamin, who is the patriarch, Amandine, his wife, Damien, their oldest son, Juliana, and Osbert. They are a slightly richer family that I did have planned to have as some potential marriage candidates for some of our Sims eventually. So, okay, Daddy doesn't make it. What about Amandine? Amandine doesn't make it. Okay. Oh, goodness, their son dies too? What about the daughter? The daughter makes it. Okay, so the two youngest children make it, but everybody else dies. Okay, so I did actually add an abbey in case this happened, where all of the orphans are going to be sent. So these two don't have any family in Windenburg, so they're going to end up at the abbey. And as orphans, well, I guess they're still going to have their money and their property, but this could be interesting if perhaps the daughter or the son could become a potential romance candidate for our younger children someday. All right, so the last Townie household that we have is the DeLacy family. You might actually recognize Staunton, who is actually the merchant who travels between Henford and Windenburg. He is the one who helped Gemma meet Sir Amos. This is his wife, Brianna, that we once met at the tavern and who was not very friendly. This is Quintin, our heir Brayden's best friend. This is Fatima, the potentially illegitimate daughter of Staunton. This is Rosa, who might actually be an interesting candidate eventually. And their youngest child, Rowan. Rolling for Staunton first. Staunton makes it. His wife passes away. We are having very bad luck with the wives. Quintin. Quintin! Oh no, Brayden loses his best friend. Fatima makes it. Rosa makes it. And the last little baby also makes it. Okay. Oh, that's sad. I really wanted Brayden and Quintin to get up to some mischief together. You know, I'm kind of tempted to plead for Quintin. You know, I think I'll specifically have Brayden plead for Quintin. All right, so we are done with the Townie households in Windenburg. I am going to move on to Willow Creek, where we have the Moreau family. So I am not going to roll for the horse because I cannot kill animals. It's just not possible for me. Okay, so we've got Sophie, who is Marie's mother. We have Tobias, of course, and Marie herself. Rolling for Sophie first. Sophie is fine, rolling for Tobias. Tobias is fine, and rolling for Marie. Marie passes away. Okay. So Tobias married Marie only to have her pass away and leave him with a fortune. Okay. Well, I mean, like I said, I'm going to be killing off all of these Sims as the famine years take place, so I'm not going to kill her off right away. She might actually have time to have one child, and then perhaps there's going to be a sickness going around Willow Creek and she might pass away from that, or she might actually pass away from malnutrition after having given birth and breastfeeding. So we will see. So that sums it up for all of our unplayed Townie households. Now I am going to move on to our side households. And that means the Verviers. All right, so I loaded into the family before doing these rolls, so let's get to it. We are going to start with Sir Amos, who is already looking pretty sad because he misses his family. Sir Amos does not make it. Okay. Uh-oh. All right, what about... Oh boy. Okay, well, we've got these two who are back to back for some reason. So we're gonna do both of these at the same time. So on the left, we've got Sir Lucan. Sir Lucan makes it. We've got Miriam. Miriam makes it. All right, so what about Gamal? Gamal makes it. And now the Hour of Truth. Gemma's first surviving child out of 2, Auguste. Auguste makes it. What about her second child, Julien? Julien makes it. Thank goodness. Oh, so this is interesting. If Sir Amos passes away, then Lucan is going to be here with the children. We can either send the children to live with Tobias, or we can keep them with Lucan and Miriam. That will be interesting to see. Let me know what you guys think, what you think they would decide to do with Gemma's 2 surviving children. Man, I am like genuinely excited and stressed out by this. Okay, so the very populous family of the Bakers here. So we're going to start with our sister, Cecilia. Cecilia does not make it. All right, okay. That, I mean, all right, I won't say anything. Let's wait until the other ones to see what the other ones are going to get as results. So, Cecilia's husband, Jeffrey. Jeffrey does not make it either. Okay, so the Baker children are officially orphans, or at least they will be at the end of the famine. So Catherine, who is going to be aging up to a teen soon, is going to be the one left to take care of everybody if she survives. Catherine doesn't make it either. I am so happy that these are the results for the Baker household and not the Barrows. All right, so Vasco here, who is the Baker household's main heir. Vasco makes it. All right, so now checking to see if Mateo makes it. Mateo makes it. Next up is the kid with the coolest name in town, Zane. Zane makes it. The one child who doesn't have the clown hair, this is Vincenzo. Vincenzo doesn't make it. Next up is their second daughter, Lucia. Lucia makes it. And lastly, we have Andrio. Andrio makes it. Okay. I'm actually tempted not to plead for these guys because they are very numerous in this family and they could do with a bit of culling. So out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, out of 9 Sims, we lost 4. So that's like 1 and 2. It's supposed to be 1 out of 4. Hopefully our main household is going to have better odds. But yeah, so I'm kind of on the fence about pleading for them or not. I guess it'll depend on how I work these deaths into the gameplay. Alright, this is it guys. The moment of truth is upon us. We have made it to our main family. They are the last ones left to rule for the famine. So I am just going to jump right into it. We are going to be rolling for Frederick first, our main sim. And Frederick dies. Okay, so this is starting off great. Next up is Rosemary. Rosemary makes it. I know it's kind of strange doing this like at midnight while everybody's in their PJs, but it is what it is. I'm gonna need as much time as possible to kill off all of these Sims, so we're starting early. Alright, Stephanie, our firstborn and only teen. Stephanie makes it. Okay. What about our twins? Rolling for our heir, Brayden first. Brayden makes it. All right, what about Frederick, his brother? Frederick makes it. And what about everybody's favorite sim, Noah? Noah dies. Oh no. Oh, Noah. I was kidding when I said I hoped you died in the famine. It was a joke, little brother. Oh no. He was becoming a bit of a character. I knew I was mean to him, but I didn't mean it. Oh boy. I wonder if Noah's gonna get himself into some sort of trouble, and that's how he's gonna meet his demise. Okay. So, our insane, dazed little Gabriella, Wendell and Shanna's only surviving child. Gabriella makes it. What about my personal favorite child, Noah the psychopath? Did I say Noah? Sorry, I meant to say Kaylin. My favorite psychopath, Kaylin. Kaylin makes it. Yeah, okay, so there's a ladder in the way here, but... Okay, so what about our little tomboy, Adriana? Adriana makes it. What about little girl here? Our pretty little Esther. Esther makes it. And Alexander, whose makeover I completely forgot about. That's really interesting color coordination. Alexander makes it. So what about our last born here, Allison? Allison makes it. We were so lucky. So lucky. I mean, this is what the odds should be. We lost 2 sims out of 12, so it was somewhere between 2 or 3 sims that we would be losing. I am sad to be losing Noah because on his own, he sort of created a lot of drama. But I am going to try pleading for him and we'll see what happens. Of course, I am also kind of upset that we're going to be losing our main sim, Frederick, but I don't feel too bad about it because Brayden and Frederick are going to be aging up into teens and I am going to be able to get Brayden married in about 3 years. Of course, that doesn't mean smooth sailing from here because we still have to do the birthday rolls for all these guys. And then we're also going to have some encounter rolls as the famine wears on to see if we might get robbed or injured or murdered. So we're not quite out of the woods yet, but this went a lot better than it could have gone. I was really expecting luck more along the lines of what happened in the Baker household. So this is fine. I can live with this. So I am going to have to start thinking up of ways that I am going to kill off all of the sims who rolled the die. Since there aren't a lot of them in our main household, I'm not too worried about that. I'm thinking I might have Frederick die sort of organically by giving his food portions to his children to make sure that his children survive. Meanwhile, Noah, I have a feeling he's a bit of a troublemaker, so he might actually get himself into some serious trouble at some point, and there might be an accident where Noah sadly passes away. So yeah. So that actually concludes the rolls for the famine, and we are going to be able to start playing. Now, we are also going to have to get rid of these animals, unfortunately. So I am going to start trading them in. I don't think it makes sense to have all of them be sold all at once, since this is like a 2-year thing. So I did a bit of an oopsie. I thought I was recording and I wasn't. And I hit the recording button thinking that I was stopping my recording, and I instead got 7 hours of background noise. So, thankfully, nothing important happened. I did the birthday rolls for Rosemary and for Alexander, and both of them were fine. I'm sorry if my voice sounds a bit off. I am currently combating a small cold. So we are going to go ahead and age baby Alexander up. I also began trading in some animals. So you might notice that we are going to have a lot less chickens. And I also traded in our goats, or 1 goat and 1 sheep, something like that. And I traded in one of our cows. So I'm going to be doing that gradually as the famine wears on. And let's take a look at this little guy aging up. Okay, Alexander aged up. He was sunny and he is now difficult and imaginative. All right, so I am going to go give this little guy a makeover and I will be right back. All right, so here is little Alexander Barrow after his makeover. He has Rosemary's hair and eyes like most of his siblings. I particularly like his mushroom hair or bowl cut. I think it actually fits for the time, so I think this is going to be his look going forward so that we always recognize him. So there we go. Another one of Rosemary and Frederick's children makes it to the toddler age. Alright, so I had Stephanie make some pottage for everybody. How I'm going to be managing this for the famine is that I am going to make as many servings as there are Sims in the family, and whoever is hungry is going to come get their portion, and hopefully that will tide them over until the next day. I can have some Sims sacrifice themselves to let others eat, and hopefully Brayden is not going to take extra portions. Right, Brayden? I've done a lot of thinking about the traits, especially because of Gabriella's constantly dazed situation, and I came to the conclusion that I would like to have a bit more leeway in modifying Sims's traits, but at the same time, I don't want to just be able to change them willy-nilly whenever I want to. So I was going to start making some rules for myself. So my current thought is that I will still randomize traits. All right, I'm going to pause this because it's distracting me. The rule that I want to make for myself is I'm not going to touch toddler and infant traits because they change when they age up to children anyways. But starting from the children life stage, I'm going to allow myself to change one trait every time they age up. So once when they become children, once when they become teens, and once when they become young adults, and potentially when they age up to adult. And this would be explained by them aging and perhaps maturing and changing as they get older. Now, this of course is aside from traits that are conflicting. So if, let's say, a sim rolls pessimistic and optimistic, well, I am going to re-roll those traits. Or I might just re-roll one of the two depending on whichever it fits better for the child. I don't know. We'll see if that happens. And of course, I'll also re-roll traits that are illegal. Someone did mention a while back that Gabriella has the lactose intolerant trait, but it is not permitted by the rules, which I sort of skipped over. So when she ages up into a teen, if she survives, of course, I am going to be changing. I'm going to re-roll lactose intolerant, and I will allow myself to change one or two of her traits since I didn't change any when she was a child. So insane would probably be changed to something that I find is a bit more fitting, because I think, oh goodness, look at her. I see Gabriella as sort of a very earthy sim. You know, her father was always in the garden and he often brought her to play out on the farm, so I think she might have started to enjoy working outside on the plants. So I might go for a trait that's either more of a daydreamer or green thumb, child of nature, that sort of thing. I'm not going to touch this now. I'm going to wait until she ages up. As I'm saying that, I'm kind of doubting myself because I see that she's only going to age up in 13-18. So it's still a while to go with the lactose intolerant and insane traits. All right, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and re-roll them now. I'm going to re-roll lactose intolerant, and I am going to allow myself to change the insane trait to something that I think fits better with her personality. So I'm going to do this for every sim that ages up. And if there are traits that I think should be changed, but it's not their birthday, or I already changed my one trait, in game, someone suggested that we could perhaps have the church or a witch help us to change the traits. And I did place down an abbey that had the meditation stools in front of statues to sort of mimic praying, which I thought was really a good idea. So I might actually have Sims start meditating, and once they get to, let's say, wellness skill 5, well, then I will allow myself to change all of their traits once. So through prayer to the Watcher and meditation and contemplation, Sims can really change what they're like. Of course, I'm not going to be giving them traits that have nothing to do with what their personality has been thus far. I'm going to change them to traits that make better sense for them. Or, you know, I might not change them all. I'll just change the ones that I think they sort of grew out of. And the other exception would be if Sims go through something really harrowing. Like, for example, if we bring Gemma back to life, I think I will change her traits, because especially the hates children trait, I might actually change that one to something else, because I think the death experience may have made her more aware of her mortality and perhaps cherish her family and her children more. So Gemma is going to be one exception to that rule. And she did age up and I didn't change her traits, so Gemma might be the exception. So those were my thoughts about the traits and how I might go about changing them in the future. Let me know if you guys agree or if you think you have a better idea of how I can go about it. I am always open to suggestions. All right, so all of our servings for the day are now on the table. So I am going to have everybody come and eat, and then they will not be able to eat anything for the rest of the day. The rules do state that they can drink water, and they don't really say anything about gatherables, so I might let them go foraging, you know, for fruit and stuff like that, and let them eat that just to top up their hunger every now and then. I think I did see other people do that, so I think it's fine with the rules. And wow, pottage really gets their hunger up all the way, so that is a good recipe to do. And Quintin de Lacy is wondering if I want to go over to his house and hang out. You know what? We're gonna say yes. It's funny that he's inviting Frederick instead of Brayden, so I'm also going to have Brayden tag along. And I think Noah might be a nosy little kid that wants to follow his older brothers all the time and wants to be part of things, especially because he thinks Quintin might bring them on some fun adventures. So I'm gonna have Noah tag along, and we are going to go see what is up at Quintin's house. All right. Oh, that reminds me. I prepared some rolls when we travel to see if we get robbed or murdered or kidnapped. So I guess we're gonna have to do those rolls now. I had forgotten about that. Okay, so before we do anything here, wow, the whole family really came out to welcome us, eh? I am going to explain what I've prepared for the travel rolls during the famine. So since crime is quite high and resources are limited, I have prepared a table of rolls. Whenever we travel during the famine, I'm going to roll to see if we get an encounter. And if we do, I am going to roll to see who we encounter. So as I've mentioned before, I prepared a household of 4 outlaws. One of them is friendly. One of them is Corey, who we've met before. He can be friendly or he can pickpocket us. And then we have 2 other outlaws that are a bit more dangerous, and they have several options as well. So let's flip a coin first to see if we encounter someone or not. This doesn't count. This is what it was generated on. So I am going to flip. Okay, so heads means that we do encounter someone. So the way that I set this up is that we are going to roll a d10. So 1 is a surprise encounter that I hope we will not get. And all of the other numbers are going to be a particular character from the Outlaw household. And we got a 4, who is Lavender, that we have not met yet. So there are a few possibilities of what can happen when we encounter this particular sim, and she is actually the one outlaw who can actually murder us. So we've been very lucky, of course, for our first roll. So we're going to roll a d6 to see what the result is. And we are robbed, which is fine. I'm fine with that. I much prefer that to having our kids kidnapped or murdered. Each character also has a different role for how much money that they get. So Corey, being a pickpocket, will always rob us for less money than Lavender. And then the other character, who is actually the leader, he is the one who can rob the most money from us because he doesn't actually attack us on the road. He goes directly to our house. So that's another possibility, depending on which character. It can be the characters who are traveling that get in trouble, or it can be the ones left behind at home. So we are going to roll a d20 to see which percentage of funds, and it would have been horrible if I would have rolled a 20. Okay, so 5% of our current household funds. So that's about 809 simoleons, which is kind of substantial. I would explain this by having the 3 Sims go into town. Maybe Rosemary and Frederick had given them some money to also go to the market while they were there, and Lavender found them and threatened them and ran off with all the money that Rosemary had given them. So I am going to deduct that right away. And there we go, the money is gone, but honestly, I am fine with that. So we are here with the DeLacy family, and we've got, of course, Quintin, who is out here, Fatima, and oh boy, there's an outlaw over there, and Brianna, who is their mean mother who hates children, and Staunton, who I don't remember if I mentioned this before, but Staunton is the merchant that helped Gemma find her way in Henford. He is adventurous like his son Quintin, so I am going to have all of them play a little, and they just became good friends. Aww. So I did not build this. I got this off the gallery, and I didn't even go inside to see if what they have fits the period or not. Oh, it doesn't look too bad actually. And they've only got 2 beds for 4 kids, but we are going to ignore that. So Quintin has a younger sister here named Rosa. I am gradually going to be, what was she doing? I'm going to gradually be aging all of them up to fit with the ages they should be, because Quintin, of course, is the same age as Brayden, and he's going to be a teen tomorrow. I'm going to have Frederick maybe come and introduce himself to the rest of the family. Or not. Brianna decided she doesn't want her kids meeting these filthy peasants. So Brianna is definitely a higher class sim who is not really a fan of her son Quintin becoming friends with these peasants. But there isn't much that she can do about it because I think Staunton is a lot more open to this, to their friendship. You know, I think Staunton, being an adventurous sim, is himself friends with people from all walks of life and in the neighboring countries. So he probably doesn't have as much of a problem seeing his children interact with peasant children. Why is everybody so... Return to active law. Yeah, so Noah's leaving because he is just too tired. And I think Frederick is also going to leave because he is also tired. So Brayden is really the only one who's going to stay. So I'm going to have Brayden come and introduce himself to the whole family. I swear, Brianna keeps picking up the toddler. She's like, this is my cherished daughter. I do not want her being exposed to stinky peasants. Alright then, Brayden is going to come talk to Fatima, who Brianna doesn't really like anyways, so she's probably fine and hopes that Fatima is going to get along with the peasants and will go marry them and get out of her hair. There, he's going to ask about... Oh, he can't ask about Brianna. Okay, he's going to ask about Quintin, so maybe he's going to ask Fatima, you know, how are things here? Do you get along with your brother? Well, do you get along with Quintin, my best friend? There, discuss interests, and he's a glutton, so I might have him enthuse about candy. What are his wants? Sing to birds, and he wants ice cream. I don't know if that's a thing. Okay, so Brianna left, so I'm gonna have Brayden come and talk to Rosa again. Oh, can he give her a gift? Oh, you know, he is. He's going to give a dragon to baby Rosa here. You know, they don't have much as peasants, but he is going to be super nice to Quintin's family. And he's going to give one of his toys to little baby Rosa. And Noah, weren't you gone home? What are you still doing here? Oh my gosh, you're gonna pass out. Go home, little guy. Aw, I missed the gift giving. And I just realized it's 9 p.m. So I am going to be sending Brayden home. Goodness, this image is so crowded. So I see Rosemary's hunger is getting low very fast while she's breastfeeding, so that is kind of scary. Oh, and Cecilia came here for a visit. I guess she might be looking in to see how everybody's doing during the famine. She probably is having some issues since they are bakers, and if they don't have any flour to be able to make their bread and other goods, they are probably starting to struggle. Dynamic jokesters. I swear it's always jokesters are difficult. There's like no other family dynamic. I know there aren't many options, but nobody seems to be getting the close dynamic. Alexander and Kaylin jokesters as well. Okay. It's currently the end of the first day of 1315, but the famine rules took a fair bit of time at the beginning of the video, so I'm going to be leaving this part here just so that the episode doesn't go on too long. In the next episode, we'll finally have Brayden and Frederick's teen birthday, and I cannot wait to see what they'll look like when they grow up. We will also have a few birthdays in our side households, including Gemma's oldest son, August's child role. So once again, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.